we bring in Cleveland's own Chris Rose from John Boy Media and the NFL Network. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
We are good. We're kicking around this whole Deshaun Watson story today.
Stunning, huh?
Well, I mean, we talked about it all year, that he was at some point going to be healthy enough to be put in this 21-day window. And now what does it mean? My guess is he'll get activated after at the end of this 21 days. Now, whether or not he'll play, I don't know. I think it all depends on how Shedeur's looking and kind of go from there.
Is there a scenario with the quarterback situation, the way it now stands, that you like for the rest of this year and next year?
Wait, what was that last part?
I'm looking ahead and next year. In other words, anybody here who you think could do it next year, or would you looking?
I think everything is on the table.
Yeah.
I think everything is on the table. The one thing we don't know is what they think of the upcoming draft class, which we're not even going to know who's available, right? I mean, Mendoza will be there, but is Moore going to join him? To me, he feels like a coin flip, right? They just lost their OC. So I don't know if he wants to stick around. Obviously, they have plenty of NIL money to keep him enticed and also keep growing as a quarterback, because he's going to have fewer than 20 starts when it's all said and done. There's obviously a Deshaun price tag that you have to factor into this equation. There's a lot of moving parts here. So I think everything is available. And I would say right now the focus should just be letting Shedeur play the rest of the year and kind of go from there with whatever direction the organization takes in terms of coaching, the architect of the team, and the quarterbacks you have available to you.
What have you thought of Shedeur so far? What'd you think of this week?
I thought he was okay. I mean, I like Chase Daniels' breakdowns. I watched them. I learn a lot from them. I've worked with Chase, so I trust him in what he's telling us. I don't ever feel like there's an agenda with him one way or another, so I just feel like he's speaking facts. Now, whether or not you think he's right, that's your choice. I've never been a backup quarterback for 15 years in the NFL. He has, so I trust his word and judgment. He said there were a lot of things that Shedeur missed, and that's okay. Like, I think that when we have the Shedeur discussion, because some people love to scream at the top of their lungs and say this about the Browns screwing him, and then there's people who say, I can't stand Shedeur, this is why he was a fifth-round pick. I'm not going to listen to you. I just don't, because I'm trying to formulate an objective opinion based on everything that has gone into this. I thought he was okay on Sunday. I didn't think he was great. I do like the way the offense feels with him, meaning that when Dylan was in there, I've told you this before, I constantly felt like we were playing in the red zone without being inside the 20-yard line, meaning the field was so small. Here, it's not that way. It does feel bigger. It feels like there's big boy plays to be made. That's where you have to live in today's day and age. And the question is, are there going to be enough plays that he sees that he has to see in order for him to become a starting quarterback? And it's okay that he misses those in start 2. It really is. You don't want him missing them in start 7 as much, but, we got to get there.
I agree with you on that. He said today, Chris, in essence, he'd like to maybe be able to turn it loose a little bit more. I'd like to see that too, and at some point, clearly, the Browns have to see that. How close do you think they are to just, okay, let's maybe not shelter you, let's not protect you, let's turn you loose and let you go play some football?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there's definitely some of that. But whatever it is, whatever plays they're asking you to run, you have to make. And that's part of it. That's probably part of the trust. Shedeur spends a lot of time in his press conferences talking about trust. And I imagine there's some of that the organization wants to see out of a young quarterback. Like, what can we trust you to do to the point where we don't, jeopardize because they owe it to the other guys in that locker room to try and win it too. It's not strictly about Shedeur's development, although I do think that has to be a big part of the final 5 weeks of the year. There's no question about it. But I understand it to some degree, but also Brock Purdy only threw it a couple more times than Shedeur did last week. I get it that he had a sizable lead midway through the fourth, but go watch Brock Purdy's drive before the end of the half. And there was a throw, I think, on 3rd and 10, maybe. I believe he hit Jennings on the left sideline. Nobody talked about that throw. That's a big league throw. And those are the ones that hopefully Shedeur is making.
As we watch these last couple of weeks of the season, and I mean, obviously the topic comes up about Andrew Berry and then Kevin Stefanski surviving and getting into next season. Your overall thoughts on what this team needs to do to look better towards the end of the year to say, hey, you know what, there really shouldn't be much of an issue. These guys should be back.
First of all, they got to beat Tennessee. They're horrible. Right. Unfortunately, it's my job. Well, I'm not going to say unfortunate. I love my job, but part of my job is to watch them play every week, and they're atrocious. You will see Cam Ward make a couple of throws this game, because I imagine most Browns fans have not even seen a lick of him outside of a highlight or two on social media. He's made some really good throws this year. He's going to take a ton of sacks. This is where Miles needs to get multiple sacks if he wants to get that record. And I certainly hope he does, because that'll be something fun for us to celebrate. Back to your question.
Yes.
One thing I want to just put out there, and I think it's an important part of the discussion, as bad as this has been the last 2 years, if you move on from Kevin, who do you want? Because I'll just tell you this. My buddy Tom Pelissero, every year right around this time, he did it right before Thanksgiving, put out a list of, assistants who are kind of on the up and up.
Ready to go. Ready to go.
Yeah, right? So it's 24 young coaching candidates. And we know that part of that list comes from agents who are trying to get their guy the next gig, right? Mm-hmm. But let me just tell you a little bit about some of the guys that are on that list, okay? Now, not all of them, but here's just a few. On it is included Mike Kafka, who is currently the Giants' interim head coach.
Former Chiefs.
Yeah, on that one. Kevin Patullo, who is currently the Eagles' offensive coordinator, who has been so suspect at his job, his head coach had to come out again this week and say, yeah, he's still going to be calling plays. We're good there. Drew Petzing, who you'll remember was a tight end coach with us, and is currently the Cardinals' offensive coordinator. I'm not so sure that their offense has been great. It's been better under Jacoby Brissett, but under Kyler, it was whatever. Zach Robinson, the OC of the Falcons, come on, really? We're going to go do that one? I don't think that's the right call. Bubba Ventrone's on this list. I'll keep going.
Really?
Just keep moving, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I guess my point is this. It doesn't mean that there's not the next great head coach out there, but it feels like this year there's a real lack of guys that people are going to want. And I wonder if that's going to factor into some teams, and perhaps including the Cleveland Browns, retaining their head coach. I'm just throwing it out there, because outside of people say, well, I want Mike McCarthy. Well, Mike McCarthy might look at the Giants job and say, well, you already got a quarterback. You already got a one receiver, Malik Neighbors, who's going to come back. You already got a better offensive line than the Cleveland Browns have. Why would I want to go to Cleveland instead of New York? If that might be part of his thought process. I'm just throwing all that out there.
I thought it was interesting when I read that article that they had Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame on that list too, and I could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I love Marcus. I loved him when he was a player at Ohio State, and I think he's done a really, really good job at Notre Dame. I just thought it was interesting that it was talking about a lot of guys that are currently in the NFL, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, I wonder if he would leave Notre Dame. I wonder what he would be like as an NFL head coach. It was very
Yeah.
thought-provoking, I thought.
Right, and it was the same thing with Matt Campbell of Iowa State a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember that. And now, since then, he keeps piling up 5 lost seasons. But, yeah, that happens with good young head coaches who have success at the collegiate level. I mean, why wouldn't you want to just now, there aren't a lot of guys that come and do it. You know, I mean, we don't have a lot of guys that are jumping to the NFL from the college game.
No, we don't, do we?
Mm-mm.
How would Ryan Day do? That's the other. Jeff and I kick this around all the time. If I was Ryan Day, I would not leave. Not now.
No, I think he's exactly where he needs to be. I just don't. I don't see that. Marcus Freeman feels like an NFL head coach to me. Now he does. I don't know if he has any interest in it. I don't know if it gets his juices flowing. But that's the guy I would talk to. I believe in that dude. Where I think he could be successful on a couple different levels. I don't think every college coach could.
Chris, love talking to you as well, and we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. How's that sound?
Thanks, Chris.
All right, boys. Take care. Enjoy the game this weekend.
All right.
We're hoping.
Happy holidays, my friend. Talk to you soon.
You too.
Later, Chris.
Bye.
Chris Rose on the Fan Hotline.